So I had somebody write in the community tab a question. They were asking about what the difference is between being fully recovered versus being semi-recovered. It's kind of an interesting question if you think about it, and I'm sure that differs for everybody. Me personally, I think there's a heck of a lot of difference because I think that being semi-recovered was almost the same as being not recovered, just at a bit of a higher weight and looked different. So I may not have been going running. I'd gone cold turkey on, say, exercise and anything that I classed as exercise, but there was still lower level movement creeping in. And of course, at that time, because there were no blogs saying don't do low level movement and stuff like that, I just didn't even know. I really, I kind of knew. Deep down, I knew that this lower level movement wasn't okay. But I didn't properly know. Well, not in a way that I was being honest with myself anyway. So it was like my day was just as full as routine and ritual. And I wasn't much freer. I just wasn't doing that routine and ritual in the gym. And I was eating different foods, and it wasn't maybe quite as ridiculously low calorie foods, but there were still all those rules and restrictions and eat this here and eat that there and eat so much of this and eat so much of that, and you can eat this on this day at this time but not on that day at that time. You all know what I mean. Well, that was still there. It had just changed a little bit. And so I don't know that for me being semi-recovered was all that much different from being not recovered. It was just the same. It was almost like the goalposts were the same, but what I was doing looked different. Maybe that doesn't quite make sense, because it was. I tell you what, it was like. It was like physically there was some difference, and on the appearance of things, on the outside there was a difference. So, but inside it was almost like it was just the same. I was still following just as many rules and things like that. And I think that for a lot of people, the reason that this part can be so difficult is because you sort of know that you're still just as fucked up, but everybody else looks at you and you look like you're not quite as fucked up. And sometimes you can look like you're not very fucked up at all. But you are. And so other people might take the pressure off a bit and might say or assume that you're actually doing a lot better than you are, and that we can't really blame them for that, because a lot of the time all other people can know or look at is what we look like and what is obvious, and they're not in our heads, so they can't see that actually you're just as fucked up as before. They might just see that you've gained a little bit and that you seem to be eating more and you seem to be exercising less, or you seem to be doing whatever behaviours less, and they just might be like, all right, well, this is pretty good. But then that can feel confusing and disheartening, because you know that actually inside, mentally, there's just as many rules and there's just as many restrictions. It just looks different, and your weight might be a little bit higher, but that's about really all the extent of it. And that hasn't necessarily made you feel any freer. And then, then what a lot of people I know, and what I did, and a lot of people now seem to really start to do when they want to go for full recovery, is they just stop all of it, They're doing the neural rewiring. They're eating without restriction. They're not following any of the rules. They're shattering all of the glass walls that are around them. And that can quite suddenly feel like quite intense freedom, as scary as it is. And so for me, when I started to do that and understood that I needed to do that, just even in the understanding of that's what I needed to do and then moving towards doing it, I actually felt like I had a lot more freedom than I had through any sort of version of my recovery or version of my eating disorder, whichever way you look at it, had given me. It was that mental breakthrough of, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me anymore, that helped me understand that I was actually, the freedom was right there. I just had to choose to stop living by the rules that and the stuff that was taking away my freedom. And that realization was just like a jump right into that freedom, which felt much bigger than any of the steps that I'd taken before. Little tiny steps that really weren't actually doing anything. You know, when you're just playing whack-a-mole, it feels so hopeless. And so that was the big bit for me, which then I think that once somebody's made that decision, well, I'm not doing any of this anymore and I'm going to recover, and I don't care how scared I feel about it, and don't care how anxious I feel about it, I'm eating without restriction. Once somebody has made that decision, it's almost like, well, full recovery then is just a matter of, it's just the details. It's in it. To me, when somebody's made that decision, it's inevitable that they will get to full recovery. And so it's that decision that really is that decision is really what pushes you into full recovery, because then you just need to follow through, which most of us are actually quite good at because we're stubborn little bastards. And so following through and actually doing what we need to do once we've decided that's what we're going to do, funnily enough, isn't the hard part. It's getting to that decision that's the hard part. And so I think that, it's not like it's a straight line. Of course, we stumble, we trip up, and we do all this, that, and the other. But if that determination is still there, we just pick ourselves back up again and start shoving food in our faces again. So the difference between quasi-recovery for me and full recovery is about the same as the difference between not being recovered at all and full recovery. Huge. Hope that helps. Bye.